Welcome to The Random Onion, and on today's video, we are coming back to something we haven't done in over a year. We are resurrecting the list, and it's a little bit different this time. I'm just going to give you guys a heads up right now. Instead of having both myself and Adam review a movie at the same time, we're changing it up a little bit. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to release my review and my score, and then Adam is going to create a separate video with his review and his scores. And we don't really know when these videos are going to come out, but at some point we will get together on a live stream or something like that, and we'll have a discussion about it. And that's how we're going to be doing things from now on. We would record reviews together, but Adam moved recently, and he moved really far away, so that's where we're at. But, you know, it does give us the opportunity to pump out more content, and ultimately I know that's what y'all like. So, let's get started. Alright, movie lovers. Welcome back to the list. I am your host, Kaden, with The Random Onion, ready to peel back the layers of today's film, Jurassic World Rebirth. We're rating this one from 1 to 100 across our 9 categories: story, plot, soundtrack, cinematography, characters, special effects, acting, world building, and the all-important fun factor. Our grading system is simple. 100 to 85 is an A, 84 to 70 is a B, 70 to 55 is a C, 54 to 40 is a D, and anything 40 or below, that's an F. So, let's dive into this review by the numbers for the list of Jurassic World Rebirth, and let's find out where it lands on the list. So, before I get into scoring, let's talk about this movie for just a quick second. Jurassic World Rebirth. It's a really cut and dry story. It kind of goes back to the basics as far as the Jurassic Park franchise goes, where you get a bunch of people, they're going to an island to do something, and they get attacked by dinosaurs. Super simple. It's got Scarlett Johansson in it. It's got the guy from Bridgerton in it. I don't remember his name. My wife is probably going to be mad because I didn't remember his name. Wait, no, it's Jonathan Bailey. Whatever. And, you know, therein lies a lot of the problems I have with this movie. I don't think it's terrible, but a lot of the movie I feel is ultimately forgettable. But there is some good, some things I liked, and there's some bad, and we'll get into it when we get into the scores here in 1 second. Alright, so first things first, we are going to score both the story and the plot. Now, what is the difference between plot and story in our case? Well, the story is exactly what it sounds like. It is the story. Whereas the plot is how that story was told. So with that being said, let's do the story first. Story-wise, Jurassic World Rebirth. The story is super simple, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but in this case, I don't think it's a good thing either. You have 2 different plot lines. One revolves around a family that gets stranded near the island. The other one revolves around Scarlett Johansson leading a team of mercenaries to recover DNA from 3 different dinosaurs to help cure, I think it's heart disease, because I guess the dinosaurs have magic DNA now. I don't really know. I think these 2 things are, by and large, some of the weakest aspects of this movie. So, you know, just getting straight into it, with it being super simple. The story, I gave a 57. And, yeah, I mean, that is a solid C, which, you know, like I said, not horrible, but definitely not great. You know, this movie's story isn't going to win any Oscars, obviously. As far as the plot goes and how that story was told, it really does feel like they had 2 separate movie scripts and they decided to just mash them together. So for plot, I also scored it at a 57, which is going to be a common thing for me when it comes to story and plot, just to let y'all know. Next, I want to talk about the characters of this movie. And to be honest, they're mostly forgettable. Yeah, I don't even remember the characters' names. I remember Scarlett Johansson's in the movie. I remember Jonathan Bailey's in the movie. Francis from Deadpool is also in the movie. And those are about the only three faces I really, really recognized. Oh, and Marsha Ali. How can I forget him? He's actually probably the best character in the movie, and I still forgot about him. That just goes to show you how forgettable a lot of these characters are. So yeah, as far as characters goes, I gave it a 55. So that score is a C minus, bordering on a D. And like I said, I find the characters weak. The biggest selling points in this movie was supposed to be the cast, which was Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, and Marsha Ali. And I don't know, they feel underdeveloped. The family that is full of all these real no-name actors seem like they were better developed than the main people in this movie. And I think that's the biggest problem I have with this is, like, the characters, I mean, it's a dinosaur movie. The characters aren't supposed to be that deep. That being said, you don't really feel anything when they're going through stuff. So, yeah, the characters, they got a 55. There's a couple negative categories. Let's get into something positive. And the positive for this movie is Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards is a fantastic visual director. You can see it in Godzilla 2014, you can see it in Rogue One, you can see it in Monsters. He's got a good eye for scale, especially when it comes to creature features. And that's one of the best parts about this movie, actually, is the special effects and the cinematography. So, to give credit where credit is due, I did really enjoy those aspects of this movie. So for my special effects score, I gave it an 82, and then for my cinematography score, I gave it an 87. But one of those scores is a B, and the other one is an A. He does a really, really good job in this movie. I will give complete credit to where credit is due. Gareth Edwards rocks whenever it comes to scale and when it comes to monsters. We get plenty of them in this movie. It's actually the thing I like the most about this movie is there is a wide variety of dinosaurs. You get the Spinosaurus, you get an awesome T-Rex scene. It's probably one of the most tense dinosaur scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And then you have the D-Rex, which a lot of people don't like the design of, and I get it. But, coming from Gareth Edwards, I think he did a good job with it. I do like the D-Rex. That being said, you have the Spinosaurus, the T-Rex, and the D-Rex. The most brutal scene in the movie doesn't come from any of those dinosaurs. It actually comes from the Quetzalcoatlus, when it swallows some dude like a seagull. And let me just say, I was writing one of my stories, and I had a scene where a guy has to fight a Quetzalcoatlus, and I actually had to edit the scene after I watched that movie because of that. And it did not make me very happy. So there is that. But it is, by and large, I think one of the most gruesome death scenes I've ever seen. And it's not even bloody. That's the crazy part. It's not. But yeah, take what you will from that. All right, now let's talk about the acting in Jurassic World Rebirth. And honestly, it's not that great. You have some really good actors, and I think the best performance is Marsha Ali in it, honestly. But everyone else just kind of seems like they're there to catch a paycheck. As far as acting goes, I gave it a 59. Now let's get to the worst part of this movie, the world building. It really seems like this movie takes everything established in the last 3 Jurassic World movies. It is just like...
You're trying to crawl away. Bring me that gas!
It really does feel like that. I mean, they had all these dinosaurs that were all over the world, and suddenly they can't survive in these environments. I mean, you had some species of dinosaurs that were surviving just fine out in the snow, like Blue and everything. It. They throw a lot of the previously established stuff just out the window, and it's really, really frustrating. And I really, really didn't like that they did that. And I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it. They were trying to get back to the basics of it being on a small island and keeping the environment small. But you could have done that without killing all the other freaking dinosaurs off. Like, it didn't make sense to me. It was frustrating, and yeah. So as far as world building goes, let's get into the score. I give world building a 48, which is a solid D. Speaking of solid, let's talk about the other real positive aspect that I found in this movie, and that would be the soundtrack or the score. And I gave it a positive for this movie for no other reason than they used the Jurassic Park theme song, and that's one of the most iconic theme songs of all time. And, with the sound in this movie, it's good. It's decent. I've got zero complaints, and iconic score is iconic score. So I didn't give it as high a score as I would say like Jurassic Park 1, but I still did give it an 83, which is it's a B. And for the last score, and the most important in my opinion, is the fun score. And what the fun score is basically, how did you feel about the movie as you walked out of the theater? How much did you enjoy the movie? For me, I know I rated a lot of this stuff relatively low, and that's okay. You can still rate something low and acknowledge that something isn't that great and really, really enjoy the movie. And I did. I love dinosaur movies. I've loved dinosaur movies ever since I was a kid. And I did. I had fun with this movie. I had a lot of fun with this movie, especially since I got to take my daughter to see it. And she loves dinosaurs as much as I do. So that being said, it is a very, very turn off your brain kind of movie, because if you give anything a little bit of thought, the movie's probably going to fall apart for you, honestly. That being said, like I said, I had fun with it. So for the fun score, I gave a solid 76, which is a B. So overall, how did this movie perform in its overall score, and where is it going to rank on the current list? So the current list of movies that I'm going to link in the description is going to be my personal list. I'm also going to list mine and Adam's personal list, but because Adam hasn't actually given y'all guys his review, this movie won't be on that list. So the list is only going to be movies that you've seen me grade, and as of right now, Jurassic World Rebirth sits at a 67.1. So a 67.1, that is the final score that was given to Jurassic World Rebirth, which honestly, in my opinion, that is not a horrible score. That is still a C+. And, I know a lot of people are probably going to complain, oh, that seems low. With our grading scale, it really isn't. And like I said, this movie is not great, but I did find it entertaining. I did think it was good. And if you're into dinosaur movies, if you're into the Jurassic Park universe, I would recommend it. So, with that being said, please leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Add another quick thought into this before I forget. You're sending a group of mercenaries into one of the most dangerous places on Earth. Why aren't any of them carrying any actual firearms? I mean, seriously, there's one gun in this whole movie, like actual gun, not the little dart gun with the poison, and they find it on a dead pilot.